Lilly is one of The Walking Dead's most overlooked and hated characters. Despite being forgotten by many fans, she remains one of the only side characters to appear in multiple seasons, and the only one to survive from season 1 all the way to season 4. But Lilly isn't just an antagonist, she's a tragic character, shaped by the brutal world around her. Join me as we unravel Lilly's story, one that begins not with bloodshed, but at a simple pharmacy. When Lilly is first introduced, she's fiercely arguing against letting Lee's group inside, with the horde closing in. At first glance, she appears to be a natural leader, calling the shots and speaking on behalf of her group. However, her authority quickly proves to be an illusion. Her father, Larry, is the one truly in control, pushing her into the leadership role and pressuring her to make tough decisions. When she hesitates, Larry immediately takes over, confronting Kenny while Lilly falls silent. It's often overlooked how quickly Lilly shifts from an assertive leader to a passive figure, her focus narrowing to one thing: looking after her father. When Larry suffers a heart attack, she completely withdraws, losing both her confidence and her standing within the group. The next time she plays a significant role is at the end of episode 1, where once again Larry dominates the conversation, this time by isolating her from Lee, using his past as a murderer as justification. This first episode subtly establishes one of Lilly's defining traits: she is not as independent as she seems. While the game initially presents her as a strong-willed leader, her actions are almost entirely dictated by Larry. He decides when she should step up and when she should step back down. This theme is reinforced in Starved for Help. Here we witness the beginning of Lilly's decline and the emergence of her ruthless mindset. Her first major action is to argue against bringing new survivors into the group, citing limited food supplies. But again, her leadership seems dependent on Larry's approval. When he praises her for making a tough call, she smiles for the first time in the series before sending him away. Yet the moment he's gone, she immediately confesses to Lee that she feels hated and overwhelmed, shifting the responsibility of rationing onto him. In season 4, Lilly reveals that her father would often force her to deal with the consequences of her mistakes. She recalls how, as a child, he would let the electricity run out if she forgot to turn off the lights, teaching her a harsh lesson in accountability. In many ways, Lilly passes that same burden on to Lee, forcing him to make difficult choices in an effort to toughen him up. While it's unclear if this parallel was intentional, it's an intriguing connection nonetheless. In my view, Lilly never truly wanted to be a leader. Coming from a strict military family, she believes it's a role she has to fulfill, primarily to impress her father. Every time Larry is absent or incapacitated, she retreats into silence. At the St. John Dairy, she initially argues that the farm isn't safe due to the presence of bandits, but the moment Larry expresses interest in staying, she stops pushing back. Time and time again, Lilly's decisions aren't made for the good of the group, but to earn her father's approval. And then we reach the inevitable question: what happens when someone like Lilly, controlled, overprotected, and entirely shaped by another's expectations, loses the person dictating her choices? The answer is chaos. Without Larry, she spirals, trapped between grief and a shattered sense of identity. She second-guesses herself, questions her own judgment, and slowly begins to unravel. Despite the short time jump between episode 2 and 3, the Lilly we see in Long Road Ahead is almost unrecognizable. Gone is the composed strategic leader. Instead, she's unhinged, lashing out with the same explosive temper as Larry. When she discovers someone has been stealing the group's supplies, her paranoia takes over. She starts finger-pointing, interrogating, and descending into a state of desperation she can't come back from. Her speech becomes more erratic, angry, desperate, and even dark. Her trust in the group hits an all-time low, and when bandits attack, it finally pushes her over the edge. This is the moment she stops hesitating. If Carley is alive, Lilly blames her and shoots her in cold blood. If you saved Doug, she accidentally kills him while he tries to protect Ben. This is where her story truly ends. Far too dangerous to keep around, Lilly does the only thing she can, turning Lee's past against him, revealing he's a murderer in a last-ditch attempt to manipulate the group. Something Larry also threatened to do. It's here that her fate is sealed, whether she's abandoned on the roadside or steals the RV and disappears. One thing is clear: Lilly, as she once was, is gone. What remains is someone shaped by grief, fear, and the weight of a role she was never meant to bear. When Lilly returns in Season 4, she takes on the role of a soldier for a group known as the Delta. What's particularly interesting is that despite holding a leadership position, she remains under the control of those above her, told what to do and how to think in order to survive. This directly parallels her past relationship with her father, who, let's not forget, was a soldier himself. Lilly's first act upon reuniting with Clementine is sparing her. The Lilly of Season 4 is unquestionably more brutal, and when it's revealed that she's orchestrating the kidnapping of children, it reinforces the idea that she does whatever it takes to survive. While Lilly is easy to dislike, what often gets overlooked is how she ended up in this role in the first place, left vulnerable to manipulation by her father's abuse. I personally don't believe Lilly enjoys what she does in Season 4. Rather, she sees it as necessary, a means of survival, and a way to maintain the trust of those who rely on her. Despite this, Lilly is positioned as the secondary antagonist of the season. When the Delta demands more children for their war, she raids the school, using emotional manipulation to dismantle the kids' defense plan. This highlights her intelligence and strategic mind. She withholds information until it benefits her, much like she did when she concealed Lee's past as a murderer. Her character in Season 4 isn't a reinvention, but an evolution, an extension of who she always was. It's unfortunate that so many overlook just how smart, cunning, and broken Lilly is. These traits don't just make her an effective soldier, they make her an even better manipulator. This is proven when she immediately identifies AJ as the perfect child to mold into a soldier. The best example, however, is how she can manipulate you, the player, into sparing her. By presenting herself as defenseless and changed, she exploits your hesitation, leading to James's death. If you chose to spare Lilly, that's proof of her manipulation working on you. However, the game presents an inconsistency in her character. After the battle at the school, Lilly again chooses to spare Clementine, suggesting she isn't as monstrous as people claim. But when the choice is given to save either Lewis or Violet, her character becomes muddled. If you choose Lewis, Lilly remains a calculated, brutal manipulator. But if you save Violet, she devolves into a sadistic child torturer, permanently scarring Lewis. By this point, Lilly is irredeemable. Her upbringing and history of control may be tragic, but they don't excuse the kidnapping and torture of children. That said, would the Lilly we've come to know really go as far as she does to Lewis? I'm not sure. The choice between Lewis and Violet creates a contradiction. One version of Lilly is ruthless but restrained, while the other is outright monstrous. And because both paths are canon, it complicates the discussion of whether she truly deserves to be executed by AJ. Regardless of which path you follow, one truth remains: Lilly is both broken and evil. She is a victim of her past, but also the architect of her own downfall. A daughter forced to step up and down. A soldier forced to fight and survive. And in the end, a manipulator who, in one way or another, always plays her role to perfection. Lilly is a character both defined and overshadowed by her father, even in his absence. You can't discuss her without mentioning Larry, and that's intentional. A brilliant reflection of how abuse lingers long after it ends. Larry dictated Lilly's connections and decisions, making him inseparable from her identity, even in death. This forced reliance shaped Lilly into an unstable, easily manipulated soldier, someone who, in turn, weaponizes manipulation to appease those who hold power over her. It's a tragic cycle. Someone who had evil done to her, only to inflict evil upon others. When you truly examine Lilly's character, as I did in this video, you realise she is far more masterfully written than many give her credit for. Even the smallest smiles, the most fleeting comments, subtly reinforce a deeper narrative, one that has gone unnoticed for too long. It's a testament to the incredible writing of The Walking Dead. Ultimately, Lilly is both a victim and a villain, an ally and an enemy, and that's what makes her one of the most overlooked characters ever written. If you'd like to decide which character gets the next essay, subscribe and check my posts tab. Thank you for watching.